This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Davitt welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, November 27th, 1977, it was Grey Cup Sunday. Alouettes and Eskimos, great rivalry of the 1970s, facing each other in what was it, the third time in the 1970s that these teams played each other? But anyway, this was a huge Grey Cup. This was at Stade Olympique, Montreal's Olympic Stadium. And this would be the first time that this stadium would host the Grey Cup. A lot of people think, wait a minute, didn't Montreal host the Grey Cup before? They did, but at the Autostade. But remember, Stade Olympique opened up in 1976 because of the Olympics. But anyway, this Grey Cup is more known for the conditions, more so than the 41-6 scoreline that Montreal did. This is what they call Canada's Ice Bowl. In 1967, we all know about the Green Bay Dallas NFL championship game, mind you. That's Bart Starr's quarterback sneak. However, this was Canada's version because it was a weird condition. The playing conditions were decent. Unfortunately, 2 days before the game, a blizzard hit Montreal, and with Olympic Stadium actually being open air at that time, people forget that Olympic Stadium was not always covered. In 1987, they tried to put a roof on it using an inclined tower, which failed miserably. And then by the late 80s, early 90s, they decided to cover that stadium permanently. Anyway, so a blizzard hit Montreal 2 days prior, and the stadium crews had to salt the field to melt the snow, which worked. Unfortunately, the temperature would plunge to unseasonable marks, and that meant it turned into ice. So the melted snow turned into a sheet of ice. Anyway, so this was the third time that the Alouettes and Eskimos would meet in the Grey Cup in 4 years. And the Alouettes looked pretty good in this game. So, anyway, it was amazing and all that. So, yeah, so Olympic Stadium had been an open air facility and all that. Thankfully, though, for the Alouettes, they actually made things happen because they had a competitive advantage. They put staples to the bottom of their sneakers to get traction on the slippery surface, and the Eskimos used the standard football cleats and all that. So anyway, Alouette defensive back Tony Proudfoot is the hero, if you will, or the villain if you're an Eskimos fan about this. It was icy cold. There was actually a transit strike, so the fans had to walk from downtown to Stade Olympique. So anyway, the field was a skating rink. Guys were trying different types of footwear, broomball shoes, but it didn't work out. Another alternative was screw-on cleats. They tried everything. But anyway, Proudfoot found a guy from Bell Canada with a staple gun. It says, how about staple? And all that. And it worked. Proudfoot said by halftime, 3/4 of the team used the staple gun and all that. And that the coaches weren't really in on it. Well, the Alouettes crushed them 41-6 with the legendary Marv Levy as head coach. Yeah, a lot of Buffalo Bills fans probably remember Marv Levy was a CFL coach before he went to the NFL. But most casual NFL fans would know about Marv Levy's time in Canada. But regardless, it was a big win, 41-6. Sonny Wade was a great quarterback. 340 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. And it looked pretty good. All that. Don Swede kicked 3 field goals and missed a field goal, which turned into a single point. In the CFL, if you kick the ball into the end zone and like a missed field goal or a punt, and that team doesn't get the ball out of the end zone, it's a single point. So it was 10-0. Dave Cutler kicked a field goal to make it 10-3. And that was the score after the first half. But then the second half was weird. How Montreal would score 31 points in the final 2 quarters. And all that. Touchdowns could not be done. And then the Alouettes would pick up a few great plays on turnovers. And then Sonny Wade threw a pass to Peter Della Riva. And for the first time in 8 quarters, or like more than almost 2 games, there was a touchdown. John O'Leary said the route is on. Anyway, Vernon Perry would return a reception 74 yards per touchdown. And actually, Vernon Perry was famous in 1979 when the Houston Oilers, the team he played for, went to San Diego for a wild card game, and Perry picked off 3 passes in that game. Wade threw a touchdown to Bob Gaddis. Don Sweet would kick 4 more points and actually set the records for field goals and total points in the Grey Cup game. 6 field goals and 23 total points, which is still a Grey Cup record to this day. The Alouettes did their job. That's their 3rd title of the 1970s, winning them 74-70. And the Eskimos just couldn't believe it. 4th time in 5 trips to the final, they lost. So that was huge and all that. Montreal had a frequent transit strike, all that. And, they had to trek from downtown to the East End Stadium. Anyway, it was a bitterly cold day, and 68,318 fans packed Stade Olympique for this game, and it's still the Grey Cup attendance record, even to this day. I was like, wow, that was huge. Vernon Perry's 74-yard pick 6 is still the longest interception return in Grey Cup history to this day. Don Sweet's 23 points as a kicker is still the Grey Cup record for most points in a championship game by a kicker. Edmonton and Montreal, this was the 6th time they would meet in the Grey Cup in 1977. However, they have met in 11 Grey Cups. I believe that's the most frequent matchup in Grey Cup history, Edmonton and Montreal. Edmonton has won 8 of the 11 Grey Cup clashes, 54, 55, 56, 75, 78, 79, 03, and 05, and the Alouettes only in 74, 77, and 02. However, the Eskimos, even though they got blown out by the Alouettes, they still had something good to cheer about, because little do people know that loss would help out, as Edmonton would win not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 straight Grey Cups after that loss. So who says you can't gain anything by losing? And the Alouettes, the poor Alouettes, wouldn't get a Grey Cup in their possession till 2002. 25 years later. Creepy, isn't it? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.